Welcome to Fluent Talk Daily podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fluent Talk Daily, where we make English simple and enjoyable.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Mike. Hey, Sarah, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Mike. Actually, I'm feeling really excited about today's topic.
Oh, yeah? Why is that?
Well, we're going to talk about something that everyone needs, but many people find difficult. How to describe your personality in English.
Ah, yes. This is such an important topic. I remember when I was learning a new language, this was always tricky for me.
Exactly. And you know what? This comes up all the time in job interviews, when you're meeting new people, when you're making friends, or even when you're dating.
That's so true. Someone asks you, so what are you like? And your mind just goes blank.
Right? You know yourself very well, but suddenly you can't find the words to explain who you are.
And that's what we're going to fix today. By the end of this episode, you'll have so many ways to talk about yourself naturally and confidently.
Yes. And before we start, if you're enjoying our podcast, please take a moment to subscribe and share this with your friends who are learning English too.
That really helps us create more content for you. Okay, Sarah, where should we begin?
Let's start with a very common situation. Imagine you're at a party or a networking event. Someone comes up to you and says, "Hi, nice to meet you. Tell me a bit about yourself."
Oh, that question is so simple, but so scary sometimes.
I know. So let's think about this. What are the basic personality types we can talk about?
Well, one of the most common ways people describe themselves is by talking about whether they're introverted or extroverted.
Good one. Let's explain that. If you're an extrovert, what does that mean?
An extrovert is someone who gets energy from being around other people. They love social situations. They enjoy talking, meeting new people, going to parties.
Right. So an extrovert might say, "I'm very outgoing," or "I'm a people person."
Exactly. I'm a people person is a great phrase. It means you really enjoy being with others.
And what about introverts?
An introvert is someone who needs time alone to recharge their energy. Social situations can be tiring for them. They prefer smaller groups or one-on-one conversations.
So an introvert might say, "I'm more of a quiet person," or "I'm a bit reserved."
Yes, reserved means you don't share everything with everyone. You're more careful about opening up.
And here's something important to remember. Being introverted doesn't mean you're shy.
That's a great point, Sarah. Many people confuse these two things.
Right. Shy means you feel nervous or uncomfortable in social situations. But an introvert might be very confident in social situations. They just prefer not to be in them all the time.
Exactly. I have a friend who is very introverted, but she's an excellent public speaker. She's not shy at all. She just needs quiet time after big events.
That's a perfect example. Okay, so we have outgoing and reserved. What else?
Let's talk about how organized you are. Some people are very neat and structured.
Yes, If you're someone who likes everything in order, you might say, I'm very organized, or I'm quite detail-oriented.
Detail-oriented means you pay attention to small things. You notice the little details.
Right. And the opposite would be someone who is more relaxed about things. They might say, I'm pretty laid back, or I'm easygoing.
Laid back and easygoing both mean you don't stress about small things. You're relaxed and flexible.
I like those words. They have a positive feeling. Now, let's talk about how you approach challenges or problems.
Good idea. Some people are very optimistic. They see the positive side of situations.
So you might say, I'm an optimistic person, or I tend to look on the bright side.
Look on the bright side. That's a nice expression. It means you focus on the good parts of a situation, not the bad parts.
And if you're more realistic or sometimes negative, you might say, I'm more of a realist, or even I can be a bit pessimistic sometimes.
Now, here's something interesting. When you're describing your personality, it's okay to mention both positive and negative things.
That's true. Actually, it makes you sound more honest and self-aware.
Self-aware means you understand yourself well. You know your strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly. So you could say something like, I'm very organized and reliable, but sometimes I can be a bit too serious.
Or, I'm really friendly and outgoing, but I can also be quite talkative sometimes.
Right. Notice how we used but to balance the description. It sounds natural and honest.
Let's give our listeners more vocabulary. What about people who are funny?
Oh, yes. If you like to make people laugh, you might say, I have a good sense of humor. Or, I'm pretty funny.
Or you could say, I enjoy making people laugh. That's a nice way to put it.
And what about people who are serious?
You might say, I'm quite serious, or I take things seriously. But remember, serious isn't necessarily negative. It can mean you're responsible and thoughtful.
Good point. Okay, let's talk about energy levels. Some people are very active and energetic.
Right. You might say, I'm very energetic, or I'm always on the go.
Always on the go means you're always busy, always doing something. You have a lot of energy.
And the opposite would be someone who is more calm or relaxed. They might say, I'm pretty mellow, or I prefer a slower pace.
Mellow is a great word. It means calm and relaxed, not too intense.
Now, what about how you deal with other people? Are you patient or impatient?
If you're patient, you might say, I'm a very patient person, or I don't get frustrated easily.
And if you're impatient, you might admit, I can be a bit impatient sometimes, or I like things to move quickly.
See, that's a good way to describe a potentially negative trait. You're honest about it, but you phrase it in a reasonable way.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about emotional traits. Are you sensitive?
If you're sensitive, you feel things deeply. You might get emotional more easily. You could say, I'm quite sensitive, or I'm an emotional person.
And there's nothing wrong with being sensitive. It often means you're empathetic.
Empathetic means you understand and share the feelings of others. It's actually a very positive quality.
You might say, I'm very empathetic. I really understand how others feel.
Great. Now, what about people who are more logical and less emotional?
They might say, I'm quite logical, or I'm very practical.
Practical means you focus on what actually works, not on theories or emotions. You're realistic and sensible.
Let's talk about work style. Some people are very motivated and driven.
Yes. If you work hard and have big goals, you might say, I'm very ambitious, or I'm goal-oriented.
Goal-oriented means you focus on achieving specific things. You like to set goals and reach them.
And you could also say, I'm very motivated, or I'm a hard worker.
What about people who prefer a better work-life balance?
You might say, I value work-life balance, or I believe in working smart, not just working hard.
That sounds good. It shows you're thoughtful about how you live your life.
Now, here's an important question. What about honesty? How do you describe that?
You might say, I'm a very honest person, or I value honesty and integrity.
Integrity means you do the right thing, even when no one is watching. It's about having strong moral principles.
That's a powerful word. Integrity.
Let's talk about flexibility. Some people adapt easily to change.
Yes, you might say, I'm very adaptable, or I'm flexible with change.
Adaptable means you can adjust to new situations easily. You don't get upset when things change.
And some people prefer routine and stability. They might say, I like routine, or I prefer things to stay consistent.
Consistent means the same, regular, predictable. There's nothing wrong with liking consistency.
Sarah, I think we should talk about confidence. This is important.
Absolutely. If you're confident, you might say, I'm quite confident, or I believe in myself.
But what if you're not very confident? How do you say that without sounding negative?
You could say, I'm working on building my confidence, or I'm becoming more confident.
That's smart. It shows you're aware and you're improving.
Right. You could also say, I can be a bit shy at first, but I open up once I get to know people.
That's very relatable. Many people feel that way.
Let's talk about creativity. Are you creative?
If you are, you might say, I'm a creative person, or I love thinking of new ideas.
You could also say, I enjoy being creative, or I like to think outside the box.
Think outside the box. That means you think in unusual or innovative ways. You don't just follow the normal path.
And if you're not particularly creative, that's okay too. You might say, I'm more analytical than creative.
Analytical means you like to examine things logically, break them down, and understand how they work.
Now, let's talk about independence. Are you independent, or do you prefer teamwork?
Good question. If you're independent, you might say, I like working independently, or I'm self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient means you can take care of yourself. You don't need a lot of help from others.
And if you prefer working with others, you might say, I'm a team player, or I work well with others.
Team player is a very popular phrase, especially in job interviews.
It is. It means you cooperate well with others and you contribute to group success.
Okay, Mike, let's do something practical now. Let's create some full examples of how someone might describe their personality.
Great idea. Let's imagine different people and how they might introduce themselves.
Okay, first example. Imagine a young woman who is outgoing and loves meeting new people.
She might say, "Hi, I'm Maria. I'm a very outgoing person. I love meeting new people and trying new things. I'm optimistic and I always try to see the positive side of any situation. Some people say I'm too talkative sometimes, but I just enjoy conversation."
Perfect. That sounds natural and friendly. She mentioned positive traits, acknowledged one potential negative, and overall gave a clear picture.
Now, let's try someone different. Imagine a man who is quiet and thoughtful.
Okay. Hello, I'm David. I'm more of an introverted person. I really value deep conversations with close friends rather than big social events. I'm very thoughtful, and I take time to consider things carefully before making decisions. I can be quiet at first, but once you get to know me, I open up.
Excellent. He explained his personality clearly without apologizing for being introverted.
Exactly. Now, let's try someone who works in a creative field.
"Hi, I'm Alex. I'm a very creative person, and I love thinking of new ideas. I'm pretty spontaneous, and I don't like too much routine. I'm easygoing and flexible, which helps me adapt to different situations. Sometimes I can be a bit disorganized, but I work best when I have creative freedom."
Great example. Notice how Alex balanced creativity with honesty about being disorganized.
Yes. Now, let's try someone who is very career-focused.
Hello, I'm Jennifer. I'm very ambitious and goal-oriented. I work hard and I'm always looking for ways to improve and grow. I'm quite organized and detail-oriented. I'm also a team player, and I really value good communication. I can be a bit serious about work, but I also know how to have fun and relax.
Perfect. She shows she's professional, but also balanced.
These examples are so helpful because they show how to create a complete picture.
Right. You don't just list adjectives. You explain a bit and give context.
Now, let's talk about some mistakes people make when describing their personality.
Oh, yes. The first mistake is being too modest or too negative about yourself.
Right. Some learners say things like, I'm not very interesting, or I'm just a normal person.
That doesn't give the other person any information. Everyone is interesting in their own way.
Exactly. Even if you think you're ordinary, you have unique qualities. Focus on those.
Another mistake is using very extreme language.
Like saying, I'm always happy, or I never get angry.
Right. That sounds unrealistic. It's better to say, I'm generally happy, or I rarely get angry.
Those sound more honest and believable.
Another tip is to use adverbs to soften your statements.
What do you mean by that?
Instead of saying, I'm organized, you can say, I'm quite organized, or I'm pretty organized, or I'm very organized.
Ah, I see. Those little words make it sound more natural and less absolute.
Exactly. In English, we often soften our statements like this.
You can also use phrases like, I tend to be, or I'm generally, or I can be.
Those are great. I tend to be optimistic sounds more natural than I am optimistic.
Right. It shows that you're usually that way, but not always, which is realistic.
Now, here's a question our listeners might have. What if English is not your first language and you're worried about your accent or your speaking?
That's a great question, Mike. And here's what I want to say to everyone listening. Your personality comes through no matter what language you're speaking.
That's so true.
Don't worry about being perfect. Just be authentic. People connect with authenticity, not perfection.
Right. If you're funny in your language, you'll be funny in English too. If you're kind, that will show.
Exactly. Your personality is bigger than your vocabulary.
Now, let's give one more practical tip. How can you practice this?
One great way is to write a short paragraph about yourself. Just 3 or 4 sentences.
Then practice saying it out loud until it feels natural.
You can record yourself on your phone and listen back. This really helps.
And try describing yourself in different situations. How would you describe yourself to a new friend, to a potential employer, to a romantic interest?
Great point. You might emphasize different aspects of your personality depending on the context.
With a friend, you might talk about your hobbies and what you like to do for fun.
With an employer, you might focus on your work style and professional qualities.
But the core of who you are stays the same.
Exactly. Okay, Mike, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We really have. Let's do a quick summary of the main points.
First, think about whether you're more introverted or extroverted.
Then consider how you work. Are you organized or more flexible? Are you ambitious or do you prefer balance?
Think about your emotional style. Are you sensitive and empathetic or more logical and practical?
Consider your social style. Are you outgoing or reserved? Funny or serious?
And remember to be honest but positive. It's okay to mention areas you're working on improving.
Use softening language like quite, pretty, tend to, and generally.
Give context and examples. Don't just list adjectives.
And most importantly, be yourself. Authenticity is more important than perfection.
That's wonderful advice to end on. Thank you all so much for listening to today's episode.
We hope this helps you feel more confident talking about yourself in English.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast and share it with your friends who are learning English.
And we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and describe your personality in English. Use what you learned today.
Yes, practice what we talked about. We'll read your comments, and we love seeing your progress.
Until next time, keep practicing, and remember, you're already doing great.
Bye, everyone.
See you next time.